الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا وحبيبنا ومرشدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا بني إسرائيل اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأوفوا بعهدي أوف بعهدكم وإياي فارهبون وآمنوا بما أنزلت مصدقا لما معكم ولا تكونوا أول كافر به ولا تشتروا بآياتي ثمنا قليلا وإياي فاتقون ولا تلبسوا الحق بالباطل وتكتموا الحق وأنتم تعلمون وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة واركعوا مع الراكعين أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب أفلا تعقلون. All praise is due to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who created us, who sustains us, and who once again has allowed us to gather so that we might hear His speech, His kalam, and so that we might reflect upon it and learn about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us this kalam as the truth, the haqq, and He will mention this. Surah Al-Baqarah, as was mentioned before, was indeed revealed in Medina Munawwara during the first couple of years of the Prophet ﷺ's life in Medina Munawwara. And once again I'll remind us of the virtues of Surah Al-Baqarah. It comes in the Hadith that the Prophet ﷺ said, لا تجعلوا بيوتكم مقابر. Do not make your homes cemeteries, graveyards. إن الشيطان ينفر من البيت الذي تقرأ فيه سورة البقرة. Surely the shaitan runs away from the house in which Surah Al-Baqarah is recited. And in another hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, اقرأوا سورة البقرة فإن أخذها بركة وتركها حسرة ولا يستطيعها البطلة. Recite Surah Al-Baqarah, read it, because to grab hold of it firmly is barakah, it's blessing, and to leave it is remorse. A person will be left hoping and wishing that he had recited it. وَلَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ الْبَطَلَةَ. And the magicians, the people who indulge in black magic, cannot overcome Surah Al-Baqarah. So it safeguards a person from black magic as well. So we've heard at the start of Surah Al-Baqarah the description of the believers, the muttaqeen, those people with taqwa. Then we heard about the people who are disbelievers, the kuffar, the kafirun. And then we heard a long discourse about the munafiqeen and some of their attributes. Then we heard about some of the things that Allah Ta'ala has given us, some of His many blessings. And then He talks about the blessings that He gave to our father Adam alayhi salam. How He blessed him. How even after he had made that mistake of eating from that tree, He forgave him and He blessed him abundantly. And then after this, He goes on to describe another group of people who have received so much blessing from Allah, innumerable blessings. And they are the Banu Israel. And the discussion about the Banu Israel goes on for many pages actually from this point. in Surah Al-Baqarah. And who were the Banu Israel? The question arises. Israel was Yaqub alayhi salam. This is another name for Yaqub alayhi salam. Banu Israel means the children of Israel, meaning the children of Israel. So then where does the word Jew or Yahud come from? Yehuda or Judah was the name of one of the elder sons of Yaqub alayhi salam. So that's where the name comes from, Jew or Yahud. Of course, Yaqub alayhi salam had 12 sons. 10 sons from his first wife, and then 2 from his second wife. And we know the names of the last 2, the youngest 2. They were Yusuf alayhi salam and Binyamin. And we know the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. It comes in Surah Yusuf, a beautiful story, the best story, as Allah says in the Qur'an. So these people had moved to Egypt because Yusuf alayhi salam had been made a minister for the Egyptian pharaoh at the time. So they were welcomed into Egypt, and then they multiplied. They had children, and so on. And this went on for hundreds of years. In some books you will find that it went on for about 450 years. The gap between Yusuf alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam, about 450 years. So a long time for these 12 sons of Yaqub alayhi salam to multiply. And so in this way 12 tribes were formed. The 12 tribes of Israel, of the children of Israel alayhi salam. So Allah Ta'ala will talk to these people, the Banu Israel. And Allah Ta'ala had blessed them in so many ways. And we've heard many stories in the Qur'an and in the Hadith about how Allah Ta'ala blessed them. And He will mention some of these blessings here. But now let's look at the context of the Prophet ﷺ and the children of Israel. When the Prophet ﷺ was given the message, he was in Mecca. He lived there for about 13 years after receiving the message. And the people in Medina, the mushrikun of Medina, the Arabs of Medina, they had been hearing from the Jews of Medina about this prophet that is to come. And the Jews of Medina had described him so well to them that when they finally heard about the Prophet ﷺ, they recognized him. The Arabs of Medina recognized the Prophet ﷺ from the description given to them by the Jews of Medina. How accurate must that description have been? And yet, after these people had believed in him, the Arabs of Medina had believed in him, and when he arrived, then many of these Jews did not believe. And this was out of spite. Allah Ta'ala says, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ. They knew him better, or indeed as well as they know their own sons. That's how well they knew him. They recognized his signs of prophethood, but they would not believe. And this is because they had hoped that he would be from their brethren, from the children of Israel, or from the children of Ishaq. So Allah Ta'ala says to them, and of course remember this surah was revealed at the beginning of the time in Medina Munawwara. So we have these groups, we have these Arabs who have become Muslims, you have these Jews also in Medina, and so the Prophet ﷺ is trying to unite all of these people of Medina under the banner of Islam. And this was another group within Medina, the Jews. And so he wants to unite them as well. So Allah Ta'ala says to them, يَا بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ اذْكُرُوا نِعْمَتِيَ الَّتِي أَنْعَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ. O children of Israel, remember, recount my blessing that I bestowed upon you. وَأَوْفُوا بِعَهْدِي أُوفِ بِعَهْدِكُمْ. And the covenant that you have agreed with me of worshipping only me, stick to it. This agreement that you have made with me, Allah is saying that you have agreed to worship me only. Stick to it. أُوفِ بِعَهْدِكُمْ. If you stick to your promise of worshipping me, I will stick to my promise. I will fulfill my promise. And of course Allah Ta'ala's promise is that You worship Him, you please Him, and you receive success, eternal success. وَإِيَّايَ فَارْهَبُونَ, and fear only me. Don't fear anyone else. Another thing to mention here is that Allah Ta'ala describes the children of Israel in some way. The description goes on for many pages. And in this there are lessons for us as well. Allah Ta'ala blessed them in many ways. He has blessed us in many ways. He reminds them of all His favors upon them. So of course, we should also then, as people who reflect and ponder, we should reflect and ponder upon the things that Allah has given us. So He says, وَإِيَّايَ فَارْهَبُونَ, and fear only me. The message is for the Jews here, but it's also for us. We need not fear anyone except Allah. If we have the fear of Allah, then all success is ours. وَآمِنُوا بِمَا أَنزَلْتُ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَكُمْ. And then Allah commands them, and believe in that which I have sent down, which confirms that which is with you. So of course Allah Ta'ala has sent down the Qur'an, this revelation upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This was confirming that which they had, the Torah. They had the word of Allah as well. And the Qur'an was confirming it, the fact that the Torah is true, the fact that Allah had indeed sent down the Torah. So this isn't very far from what you are believing. But now believe in the final prophet as well. وَلَا تَكُونُوا أَوَّلَ كَافِرٍ بِهِ. Allah says, do not be the first of the disbelievers. Meaning that you should know better. O people of the book, O children of Israel, you should know better. You know that many messengers came before. You know that they were upon the truth. You know that many books came before. You know that this is now a messenger as well. He is the final messenger. You should be the first to believe, not the first to disbelieve. وَلَا تَشْتَرُوا بِآيَاتِي ثَمَنًا قَلِيلًا. And as for my signs and my ayat, do not try and earn money with it. A small sum of money. So what some might do, what some people at the time used to do is they used to sometimes change the verses of the Torah, or they used to sometimes change the interpretation according to their whims and desires. And this was sometimes in exchange for some money. But of course, that money is very small compared with the punishment that is to come. So for a small sum of money, don't do this. Don't buy the wrath of Allah. وَإِيَّايَ فَاتَّقُونَ, and fear only me. Have taqwa of only me. وَلَا تَلْبِسُوا الْحَقَّ بِالْبَاطِلِ. And in this way, by changing the interpretation of some of the verses of the Torah, don't mix up the truth with the untruth, the truth with the batil. وَتَكْتُمُوا الْحَقِّ, and do not hide the truth. Of course, the truth here is in reference to the description of the Prophet ﷺ that was in their books. Such a description that they had taught it to the Arabs that were living with them. Don't now hide that description. وَأَنْتُمْ تَعْلَمُونَ, and yet you know, you have this knowledge, so now don't hide this. So again, a lesson to us, that if we have knowledge, then we should pass it on. بَلِّغُوا عَنِّي وَلَوْ آيَةً. The Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, that pass on from me. Pass on from me the knowledge, even if it is one ayah that you have learned. Don't hold on to it, don't hoard this knowledge. Rather pass it on, share it. It's possible that the person who hears it from you will benefit from it more than you do. So pass it on. And if they benefit from it, you will benefit as well in the same way. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ. As has been mentioned many times before, just having iman, just having belief is not enough. Allah then wants to see evidence of that iman. And that is through our actions. So Allah says, وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. So establish your prayer. He is saying to the Banu Israel, not only do I want you to believe, but I also want you to establish your prayer. وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ, and give in charity, give your zakah, purify your wealth. وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ, and do ruku', do bow down to me with those people who bow down to me. What does this mean? To establish prayer, well, prayer is a physical activity, it's a physical type of worship. A worship that we do with our bodies. We don't need any wealth for it. If a person has enough energy, he will do this, he will be able to pray. As for zakah, this is related to wealth. So both in terms of body and in terms of wealth, worship Allah. So worship fully with everything you have, with your energy, with your strength, and also with your wealth, what you own. And then, وَارْكَعُوا مَعَ الرَّاكِعِينَ, and bow down to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with those people who are bowing down to Him. Meaning, establish your prayer with the jama'ah, with the people, with those people who have believed. This teaches us the importance of performing salah in the masjid. It teaches us the importance of performing salah in congregation. If Allah is telling the Jews to do it, of course, He's also telling us to do it. It's in the Qur'an. Also, it tells us the importance of keeping good company. Don't just stay on your own. Remember, good company is better than staying on your own. But staying on your own, staying alone is better than keeping bad company. So keep good company. Allah says elsewhere in the Qur'an, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu attaqullah, O you who believe, fear Allah, have taqwa of Allah, wa kunu ma'as sadiqeen, and be with the truthful ones. Of course, the truthful ones are pious people. They are good people. Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was a siddiq. He is a truthful one. So this is a good attribute to have. So be with the good people, the truthful people, those people who don't lie, who do not deceive. So Allah wants us to keep good company. So establish your prayer, give your zakah, purify your wealth, and then also worship with other like people, other respectable, honorable people. And then Allah Ta'ala goes on and advises them, questions them, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ, do you command people to do good? وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ, and yet you forget yourselves? وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابِ, and yet you read the book? You read the book and you're passing on the message to others, and yet you're forgetting yourselves. Preach, so do what you preach, basically. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, do you not have any understanding? Do you have no aql? And regarding this, the ulama have spoken at length. There are long descriptions of this, and many examples are given about a person who does what he does is different to what he preaches. So there's one poet who says, "Ibda binafsika fanhaha an ghayyiha, فإذا انتهت عنه فأنت حكيم." Start with yourself, the poet says, and stop it from its corruption. Stop your nafs from its own corruption. فَإِذَا انْتَهَدْتَ عَنْهُ, if you're able to do this, if you're able to save yourself from your own corruption of your nafs, then you are a wise man. So a wise man isn't just someone who's able to give wisdom and pass it on. No, it's that person who's able to sort himself out first. فَهُنَاكَ يُقْبَلُ إِنْ وَعَظْتَ وَيُقْتَدَى بِالرَّأْيِ مِنْكَ وَيَنْفَعُ التَّعْلِيمُ. If you do this, if you save yourself from the corruption of yourself, then only then will your advice be accepted, and your opinion will be followed, and your teaching will benefit. Otherwise, a person can give as much advice as they want, but it won't help at all if the person is seen to not follow the same advice. And Abu al-Atahiyah, who is another famous poet, he says, وَصَفْتَ التُّقَى حَتَّى كَأَنَّكَ ذُو تُقًى. You have described taqwa so much that a person might think that you have taqwa as well. You have described taqwa so much. وَرِيحُ الْخَطَايَا مِنْ ثِيَابِكَ تَسْتَعُ. And yet, the smell of mistakes is emanating from your clothes. So again, it's the same message, that a person should bring these qualities, the qualities that they are calling towards, into themselves first. And another person says, وَغَيْرُ تَقِيٍّ يَأْمُرُ النَّاسَ بِالتُّقَى. A non-taqi person, a non-muttaqi person, orders other people to bring taqwa into their lives. طَبِيبٌ يُدَاوِي النَّاسَ وَهُوَ عَلِيمٌ. It is like a doctor who is curing people, who is giving cure to other people, and yet he himself is unwell. Meaning that the people will think that this man is trying to cure everyone else, but look at himself, he's not focusing on himself first, he needs to sort himself out. And someone else has given a beautiful example. He says, سِرَاجٌ يُضِيءُ لِلنَّاسِ وَيَحْرِقُ نَفْسَهُ. The person who is advising other people, he is like a lamp that is giving light to others, but he is burning himself. So he himself is on fire. Yes, that's providing light to everything around, but he himself is burning up. How is he benefiting? So we must always look at ourselves. And there are people described like this in the Qur'an as well. يُحِبُّونَ أَن يُحْمَدُوا بِمَا لَمْ يَفْعَلُوا. There are certain people who like to be praised for things that they have never done themselves, and so on. So a person really should think about himself first, rectify himself first, and then when he provides advice to others, then that will be of benefit as well. وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ. And take help with sabr and salah. So when you find yourself in difficulty, when you find yourself in hardship, then help yourself with patience and salah. If you are patient in time of difficulty, and then you are steadfast in your prayer, so you accept that the difficulty is from Allah, and then you seek help with Allah through your prayers, then this will help you. And this is what Allah Ta'ala is saying to the children of Israel here. He has given the advice. وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ. But this salah is not easy. To establish salah and to perform it properly is not easy. وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ. Surely it is very big, it is very difficult. إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. Except upon those people who fear their Lord. If a person has the fear of Allah, then salah is very easy. Doing anything good is very easy for him. Staying away from sin is very easy if he fears Allah. And so help yourself. Ista'een bis-sabri wa-salah. Help yourself with sabr, with patience, and with salah. الَّذِينَ يَظُنُّونَ أَنَّهُمْ مُلَاقُ رَبِّهِمْ وَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Who are these people who fear Allah? Who are the khashi'een? Because of course we want to be amongst them. We want to be amongst those people who benefit from patience and salah. Allah describes them. He says, they are such people who know for sure that they will meet their Lord. So a person should always be mindful of this. That whenever I die, on the day of judgment, I will be meeting my Lord. I will be held to account. وَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. And they will surely return to Him. These are the fearful ones, the people who fear Allah. Because when a person knows that he is returning to Allah, his Maker, and he will be held accountable for his actions, then of course he will be fearful. So Allah Ta'ala has given advice here. He then continues. He says again to them, Ya Bani Israel, O children of Israel, اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم. Again, Allah repeats the same sort of ayah. that remember my blessing upon you that I have bestowed upon you. Remember the blessing that I have bestowed upon you. وَأَنِّي فَضَّلْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ. And remember that I gave you preference over all the worlds. There were many people that came in the world, but you were given preference. You were the children of Anbiya alayhim as-salam. You were given honor. So Allah is reminding them of one of the many things that He did for them. وَاتَّقُوا يَوْمًا لَا تَجْزِي نَفْسٌ عَنْ نَفْسٍ شَيْئًا. Of course, Allah Ta'ala is referring to, when He says that He gave them preference, He is reminding them of times past. The times when Anbiya, the messengers came one after the other. Sometimes multiple messengers at the same time within a generation, coming to them to remind them, to pull them back towards the truth. Such an honor. He is reminding them of the honor that their fathers and their forefathers had. And then He says, and fear that day when no soul will be able to save another one. وَلَا يُقْبَلُ مِنْهَا شَفَاعَةً. And there will be no intercession accepted from any disbeliever. وَلَا يُؤْخَذُ مِنْهَا عَدْلٌ. And even if a person offers compensation, that, oh Allah, accept this from me, and in return, save me from the fire, this will not be accepted. وَلَا هُمْ يُنصَرُونَ. And they will not be helped. So Allah Ta'ala here has reminded them of the Day of Judgment. He has reminded us of the Day of Judgment. That day when, yes, no intercession will be accepted except from those that Allah accepts to intercede for. And then He says, وَإِذْ نَجَّيْنَاكُمْ مِنْ آلِ فِرْعَوْنَ. And then He mentions the family of Fir'aun and how Fir'aun persecuted them. And Allah says, and remember how we saved you from the people of Fir'aun. يَسُومُونَكُمْ سُوءَ الْعَذَابِ. They afflicted you with the worst of punishments. يُذَبِّحُونَ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ. They used to slaughter your sons. وَيَسْتَحْيُونَ نِسَاءَكُمْ. And they used to leave your women alive. وَفِي ذَلِكُمْ بَلَاءٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَظِيمٌ. And in that there was a great test from you. A great test from your Lord. So this is something that Fir'aun used to do. And this was after he had seen in a dream that there was a fire that came from Baytul Maqdis, so near the Jerusalem area. It had come to Egypt and it afflicted all of the Copts, basically all of the Egyptians, the indigenous Egyptians, but it left the children of Israel. So he had seen this in a dream. So then he called all of his sorcerers and all of his magicians and all of those wise men amongst his people, and he asked them, what should I do? And he said, someone from amongst these children of Israel will be born, and at his hands you will lose your kingdom. That is why then he used to have the sons of the Banu Israel killed. Of course then the story is famous where Musa a.s. was saved. وَإِذْ فَرَقْنَا بِكُمُ الْبَحْرَ فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. And then Allah Ta'ala reminds them of the next blessing, another blessing, where Allah Ta'ala split the Red Sea and He saved them. So He says, and when we split the sea for you, فَأَنْجَيْنَاكُمْ, and we saved you. وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ, and we drowned the people of Fir'aun. وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, and you were watching. So this was another blessing from Allah. Allah saved them. He saved them from the punishments of Fir'aun. He then split the Red Sea for them. وَإِذْ وَاعَدْنَا مُوسَىٰ 40 لَيْلَةً ثُمَّ اتَّخَذْتُمُ الْعِجْلَ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ وَأَنْتُمْ ظَالِمُونَ. And then we promised Musa alayhi salam 40 nights. And during those 40 nights, you took a calf, and so in his absence, in the absence of Musa alayhi salam, You took a calf, you started worshipping it, وَأَنْتُمْ ظَالِمِينَ. And you were oppressors. You were oppressing yourself. You were doing dhulm upon yourselves. The story goes that the Banu Israel, they were being oppressed. They were then delivered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the land of Egypt to Canaan, that area on the other side of the Red Sea, after he had split the Red Sea. And then so Fir'aun had been killed. And then afterwards, the people needed something to worship. They needed guidance. So Allah Ta'ala then called Musa alayhi salam for 40 nights. And He gave him the tablets upon which the Torah was revealed. Now what happened in the meantime, during those 40 days and nights when Musa alayhi salam had gone, he had left his brother Harun alayhi salam as his deputy. He was in charge. Of course, Harun alayhi salam didn't hold the same authority as Musa alayhi salam, for whatever reason. He was quite soft, and although he called them towards Allah and he reminded them to be mindful of their obligation to Allah, they did not listen. There was a man amongst them called Samiri, and this was a man who was quite cunning. What he had done is, when the people of Israel, the children of Israel, were being saved via the Red Sea, then Jibreel alayhi salam had come down, and he had seen this. And Jibreel alayhi salam had a small amount of, what they say, some soil, blessed soil, subhanallah, Allah knows best how it was. But somebody took this. This is of course blessed. And what he had done is then, when Musa alayhi salam then went away to receive the revelation, he called the children of Israel, and he said to them that Musa has gone, what you need is someone to worship. Now the children of Israel had seen other groups of people worshipping other things. They had seen other idols and they had wanted something similar. So Samiri said, gather all your gold, put it together, melt it down, and let's shape a calf, so an animal. And then afterwards, what he did is he took this soil and then placed it on this calf, and it came alive and it started making a noise. This was because of the blessing placed in that soil. Now, the people then started worshipping this calf. And amongst those people, there were three groups. Amongst the children of Israel, there were three groups of people. There were those who worshipped it. Fine. There were that group who remained silent, who didn't worship, but they didn't really say anything either. And there was that group who did speak out, and they tried to stop those people from worshipping that calf. Meanwhile, Harun alayhi salam is trying to tell them all, stop worshipping this calf, this is shaitan, he is calling you away from the truth, but they did not listen. And of course, he feared also that if he spoke any further, they would then hurt him and it would cause even more trouble. When Musa alayhi salam comes back, of course he has just spoken with Allah. He is so elated at that experience of that seclusion with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaking to him. And then he comes back and then he sees his people. He remembers how he left them, and then he comes back and he sees them worshipping this idol. He was so angered that he grabbed his brother Harun alayhi salam, and he grabbed his beard and his head, and he said, what have you done? I left you in control, and this is what has become of my people. So then Harun alayhi salam, and this comes elsewhere in the Qur'an in Surah Taha, he says, do not grab my head and do not grab my beard. لا تأخذ بلحيتي ولا برأسي. إني خشيت أن تقول فرقت بين بني إسرائيل ولم ترقب قولي. I feared actually that if I had been too strong with them, too harsh with them, O Musa, if I had been too harsh with them, then you would come back and then blame me for splitting the Banu Israel. I favored unity over causing the split in this way. Look at the wisdom of Harun alayhi salam. So then afterwards Musa alayhi salam calmed down, and then he waited for the command of Allah to come. And the command was, and there is a lesson for us here, the command was that the people who had worshipped, that those people must be killed. Who was to kill them though? The people who had remained silent. So they were to die at the hands of those who had remained silent. And as for the people who had actively tried to stop them from worshipping, they were the saved ones, basically. They were spared this terrible punishment. So this teaches us a great thing. The fact that we should first of all avoid sin, we should avoid shirk, we should avoid doing anything that will displease Allah, but also it's important not to stay silent. If we see anything wrong happening, it's important for us to speak out. من رأى منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان أو كما قال عليه السلام. It's reported that the Prophet ﷺ said that whosoever sees any corruption, any evil, then he should stop it with his hand. If he's not able to do this, if he doesn't have the power, the influence to do this, then he should at least stop it with his tongue. If he's not able to do this as well, if he is even weaker than this, then he should at least acknowledge it in his heart that this is wrong. وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. That is the weakest level of iman. If a person sees something wrong happening and he doesn't even acknowledge that it's wrong in his heart, then where is his iman? What iman does he have? So it's very important, and we are an ummah that has been sent. تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. We call towards all that is good and we forbid all that is evil. So it's important for us, first of all, to save ourselves, but also if we see bad happening, then we should try and stop it. Of course, this comes with wisdom. Sometimes the wisest thing is to just say something, not necessarily to stop it with our hand. But you get the idea of the importance of stopping something bad when it's happening. And this is more important in our own homes, with our families, when we see our children, our wives, doing something that is against the teachings of Islam. Then with wisdom, with kindness, we should try and teach, we should try to educate and stop them from doing that which will displease Allah Ta'ala. So this was what happened at the time of Musa alayhi salam. And then we'll continue. Allah Ta'ala says, ثُمَّ عَفَوْنَا عَنْكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So the one group who had worshipped the calf, they were killed. And they had been advised to do tawbah before that, and they were killed. The people who had killed them, they were the ones who had remained silent. And then those people who had not worshipped and had actively tried to stop them, they were saved as well. So then Allah says, ثُمَّ عَفَوْنَا عَنْكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ. After that, we forgave you. So yes, the mistake was made, but you repented and we forgave you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. So even after such a big mistake had been made, we forgave you so that you might be grateful. وَإِذْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ وَالْفُرْقَانَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. And remember, O Banu Israel, when we gave Musa, your prophet, the book, the Torah, wal-Furqan, and this Torah was a Furqan as well. And this is another name for the Qur'an as well. Furqan means that which differentiates good from evil. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ. And he would have been given this book, the Torah, so that you might be guided. وَإِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ يَا قَوْمِ إِنَّكُمْ ظَلَمْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ بِاتِّخَاذِكُمُ الْعِجْلَ فَتُوبُوا إِلَى بَارِئِكُمْ فَاقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ عِنْدَ بَارِئِكُمْ فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ إِنَّهُ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. And remember, again, Allah Ta'ala is saying, remember the blessing from Allah when Musa alayhi salam said to his people, said to the children of Israel, that, O my people, Ya qawm, you have oppressed yourselves. إِنَّكُمْ ظَلَمْتُمْ أَنفُسَكُمْ بِاتِّخَاذِكُمُ الْعِجْلَ. you have oppressed yourselves by taking this calf as your thing of worship, as your idol. فَتُوبُوا إِلَى بَارِئِكُمْ. So now repent to your Lord. Al-Bari is one of the names of Allah. So Musa alayhi salam said to them, repent to your Bari, meaning Allah. Al-Bari is the one who creates without any prior example. So He's reminding them of how great Allah is. That you've been worshipping this idol, yes, which you have created. Allah, and that is based on other calves that you have seen, other animals that you have seen around. But Allah is the one who created you and everything here without a prior example. How great is Allah compared to this idol that you are worshipping? So now return to Him, repent to Al-Bari, your Bari, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَاقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. So now kill yourselves, meaning one group killed the other group. And of course, they were all one, they were all Banu Israel. So they were effectively killing themselves, meaning they were killing members of their own group, their own tribe. ذَلِكُمْ خَيْرٌ لَكُمْ عِنْدَ بَارِئِكُمْ. Surely that is better for you with your Lord. In فَتَابَ عَلَيْكُمْ. So then Allah forgave you. Allah then is speaking to the Banu Israel still, He says, so He forgave you, meaning He forgave your forefathers. إِنَّهُ هُوَ التَّوَّابُ الرَّحِيمُ. Surely He is the most forgiving and the most merciful. وَإِذْ قُلْتُمْ يَا مُوسَى لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرًا فَأَخَذَتْكُمُ الصَّاعِقَةُ وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ. So Allah Ta'ala, notice how Allah Ta'ala is reminding them one after the other of the things that He has done for them. And they're hearing the story at the same time, essentially. So here what had happened is the one group that had actively tried to stop those people from worshipping the calf. Allah Ta'ala then required of Musa alayhi salam to take a group of them up to the mountain so that they might really ask for forgiveness on behalf of their people from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Musa alayhi salam picked 70 of their most pious, of their best people. He picked them so that they might go with him. So they go, and the story is in Ibn Kathir, they go to the mountain, and then a cloud descends, so then they can't see what's happening. And Musa alayhi salam enters into that cloud, and then there he is speaking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is engaging in conversation with Allah ta'ala. And then this group of 70, they then come close, and they fall into prostration, and they are then seeking forgiveness on behalf of their people and on behalf of themselves to Allah ta'ala. So they are doing sujood to Allah and asking for forgiveness. So they did what they were told to do. Then afterwards the cloud went away, and Musa alayhi salam comes back to the people, to these 70. And then they said to him, fine, yes, you were speaking to Allah, yes, but how do we know that it was Allah that you were speaking to? We won't believe until we actually see Him, actually see Allah. Subhanallah. And these were some of their best people, that they had been handpicked by Musa alayhi salam. Subhanallah. So Allah Ta'ala then says, وَإِذْ قُلْتُمْ يَا مُوسَى لَن نُؤْمِنَ لَكَ حَتَّى نَرَى اللَّهَ جَهْرًا. And remember, when you, meaning your forefathers, said to Musa alayhi salam that we will not believe in what you have brought until we see Allah openly. فَأَخَذَتْكُمُ الصَّاعِقَةُ. So what actually happened is these people just wouldn't understand. Musa alayhi salam said to them, how can you ask for such a thing? You are not capable of seeing Allah directly. And yet, they did not listen, they were stubborn and they were firm, and they said, no, we want to see. So then he said, oh Allah, this is what they are asking. So Allah Ta'ala sent down a bolt of lightning. This one bolt of lightning, and they were burned and they were basically killed. And this was of course as a punishment for asking such an absurd thing. Musa alayhi salam then finds himself in a predicament. He thinks, So he calls out to Allah, he's crying, he calls out to Allah, oh Allah, what am I supposed to do now? How will I return to my people and say, yes, the best people amongst you, they've been killed because they asked us such a silly thing. How will I then return to Banu Israel? You know what they are like. They will then blame me. They will say, I've done something to them. Oh Allah, help me here. So then, Allah Ta'ala, after a day and a night, they remained dead, and then Allah Ta'ala brought them back to life. And this was, as subhanAllah, as a favor to Musa alayhi salam, to save him from the difficulty that he would face. So then Allah says, and remember when you said to Musa that we will not believe until we see Allah directly, so then a lightning bolt came upon you and it hit you, وَأَنْتُمْ تَنْظُرُونَ, and you were watching it, you saw it come. ثُمَّ بَعَثْنَاكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِ مَوْتِكُمْ, and then after you were dead, we brought you back to life. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ, so that you might be grateful. Notice how Allah Ta'ala is reminding them of so many different things that He has done. وَظَلَّلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْغَمَامِ وَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَيْكُمُ الْمَنَّ وَالسَّلْوَىٰ. And then after this, these people continued, the Banu Israel continued, and they were hungry, so then they were given the man and the salwa. So Allah Ta'ala then saved them from the sun, the heat of the sun, by giving them clouds, and then He rained upon them the man and the salwa. Salwa meaning quails, and a nice bird to eat basically. So they used to eat from that bird, the quail. And man is another thing that was coming down from Allah Ta'ala so that they might eat it. This was a gift from Allah, because it was a barren land, there was nothing growing there. كُلُوا مِن طَيِّبَاتِ مَا رَزَقْنَاكُمْ. It was said to them, eat from the goodness that we have given you, that we have provided you. O Banu Israel, even after you've done so many things to displease me, I am still then giving you so much. وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. But they still didn't show gratitude, and so when they showed ingratitude, then really, وَمَا ظَلَمُونَ, they didn't oppress me, Allah says. They didn't oppress me, they didn't hurt me. وَلَكِنْ كَانُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ يَظْلِمُونَ. But rather they oppressed themselves, they hurt themselves. A lesson again to us, that Allah Ta'ala does not need us. We are in need of Him. He is the Ghani. He is in need of no one. And so if we displease Him, we are only hurting ourselves. So when Allah says that we will be doing dhulm by displeasing Him, then this means that we would be oppressing, we would be doing dhulm upon ourselves. We're only hurting ourselves by displeasing Him. So why do we displease Him? We know that He wants what is best for us. We know that all the goodness of the world, all the success of the world and the akhirah lies in following His commandments, in pleasing Him. So then why do we then hurt ourselves? He doesn't need us. And He says here, وَمَا ظَلَمُونَا. We gave them so much. They did not show any gratitude, they were not grateful. So they didn't hurt us, Allah says, they didn't hurt us. But rather they hurt themselves. And then Allah says, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا ادْخُلُوا هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ. So after He had given them so much, then Allah says, and now remind them also, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا ادْخُلُوا هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ. When we said to them that enter this town, فَكُلُوا مِنْهَا حَيْثُ شِئْتُمْ رَغَدًا. So eat from it whatever you wish. وَادْخُلُوا الْبَابَ سُجَّدًا. And enter the gate in the state of prostration. So again, show gratitude. Show that you are grateful for what Allah has given. So enter into this place, into this town, and eat from it whatever you wish. وَقُولُوا حِطَّةً. And say the word hitta. Hitta meaning forgive us. Forgive us. Take away our sins. نَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ خَطَايَاكُمْ. If you say this, if you do this, if you do sujood as you're entering this town, and if you say hitta, then I will forgive you your sins. وَسَنَزِيدُ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. And as for those people who do good, then we will increase even more for them. But what did they do? فَبَدَّلَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا. So those people who oppressed, again the ظلم, they oppressed. They were oppressors upon themselves. What did they do? They changed the word. The word hitta, meaning forgive us, forgiveness, they changed it to hinta, which means corn. Basically, they were tired of the man and the salwa that was coming from Allah Ta'ala. They were tired of it and they wanted other food. So they said, give us corn. And so they made a mockery of it. They should have been asking for forgiveness from Allah. They should have been saying hitta, but instead they said hinta. So فَبَدَّلَ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا قَوْلًا غَيْرَ الَّذِي قِيلَ. So the people who were oppressors upon themselves, they changed it to a word that was different to what they should have been saying. فَأَنزَلْنَا عَلَى الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا رِجْزًا مِنَ السَّمَاءِ بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ. So we sent down upon those people who had oppressed a wrath from the heavens, بِمَا كَانُوا يَفْسُقُونَ, for the transgression that they were doing. The fact that they were transgressing the bounds of Allah. And then after this, of course, the description goes on about the various other things that Allah Ta'ala gave them. Will continue, inshallah, in the coming weeks. So really, it's very easy for us when we hear the story of Banu Israel. It's very easy for us to laugh, to make judgments, but really, we have to look at ourselves. Where are we? Where are we with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? They were people who lived during those times. They made mistakes. They did things to displease Allah. We should learn from that. If they made mistakes, we should never make the same mistakes. If they were given things by Allah Ta'ala, if they were given blessings, and they didn't show gratitude, then we should be different. If Allah says that He was angry with them, then we should understand why He was angry. And we should then avoid those things that displease Allah and anger Him. So there are many lessons for us in this. So we shouldn't just take the stories at face value. We shouldn't just think, yes, they were very silly people, what kind of ridiculous demands that they make. If we think about ourselves and we think about the people around us, we will find many demands being made. You know, you'll find people who find themselves in a difficulty and then they'll say, what have I done? What have I done to deserve this? This is quite a common thing that we'll hear. What have I done to deserve this calamity? You know, I'm such a nice person, you know, I'm nice to people, what have I done? Really, instead, we should be always mindful of the fact that any difficulty, any calamity comes from Allah. Any situation comes from Allah, good or bad. And there is always a test in everything. Look also at another lesson that we learn. One Imam of the past has said that look at how Allah Ta'ala blessed the Banu Israel. They were tested so much, they went under so much hardship at the time of Fir'aun, at the hands of the Copts, of the Egyptians at the time. And so then, look how they were blessed. They were patient. They persevered. They held on to their iman. And yes, they made mistakes and they were silly sometimes, but really, they held on to their iman until the time of Musa alayhi salam, and then they believed in Musa alayhi salam. That's another thing. They believed in him. And then look how Allah honored them. After being oppressed for so long, with their patience and with their sacrifice, they were then honored. They received so many Anbiya alayhi salam after this. So many messengers came. Books were sent down to them. They had the Torah, the Injil, the Bible that was sent down to them, the Banu Israel. If you look also, they received kingdom. They received kings. They had Dawood alayhi salam, Sulaiman alayhi salam. They had vast kingdoms. They were very powerful kings. And they were from amongst them. So they were honored by Allah after they showed sacrifice and after they persevered during that difficult time. And so again, a lesson for us here, that we will also find hardship in our lives, we will also be tested, but if we are patient, then Allah will honor us, Allah will exalt us. But of course, we have to show that sabr, that patience. It's important not to give up hope. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it all.